And I'd like to call the meeting to order.
Joan here too. Such a breather.
Okay, welcome everybody. Monday, October 20th, 2025 at 6 p.m. here at the town hall. Need to adopt the agenda. Have a motion.
Second.
Any discussion or changes? If not, all in favor?
No.
Any opposed? Need to approve our minutes of the regular meeting of October 6th, 2025. Any corrections or additions to those minutes? What's that? Have a motion?
I have one
Okay.
on the second page. Second paragraph down at the end. The word agreed that asked Morgan and Wilbur to contact Hayden Lake to begin the process. I don't ever remember that being said. If it is so, have you started the process?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to find where you are. What page did you say?
Second page.
Talked about the statement.
We talked about this, I remember talking about the state and
That's the
also
thing, it's not mentioned in there either.
Hayden Lake. Do we know his name?
Didn't
The
work,
state, Tim?
but his name's not mentioned at all. We didn't agree to ask Morgan to start the process with Hayden Lake.
So I'm gonna say that your proposal is that we use in Lake Commission.
Right.
We use both.
Yeah.
So we want the market for future law. Well, see the sense of the.
I see the sentence as well, and I understand your question, because I don't recall that either.
You know, and I read the minutes, he never said it, to listen to it. It doesn't say anything about it.
So.
Right.
There we go.
These are,
You wanna listen to 1 minute?
So in other words, you have not contacted Hayden Lake.
I have not contacted David.
I know we had a discussion, but I don't believe we made a motion.
Correct.
Or-
I would say have, Morgan will check with you, that's all I could, do that. But I probably just heard it, if you don't know.
What does your minutes say, Kathy, that you thought proposed?
We'd have to find that.
Well, I didn't.
I think when he's correct, I remember him saying something about, or Morgan will contact Hayden. And if Hayden couldn't do it, then you contact the state. But
Madam Chair, is this in relation to assessing the logging near the
Yes.
garage? Is that what the topic is?
this is the
Hayden.
logging at highway, in the highway committee, the highway.
Yes, I see that.
And, the new property that we acquired. That was a gift for cemetery land, that should be locked
The
On
note
Chester
that I took
Road.
is,
on Chester Road.
the note that I took is Hayden to assess logging near garage on Chester Road.
Or it was, we're assuming it was the other logging too, highway.
There's no mention on, in there that had Morgan start the process. Yeah, nobody ever mentioned it, but.
No, we just talked about it.
Nobody talked
We'll
about it.
talk about it.
Go back to the, and let's do it all.
All right, so do we want to hold approval of those minutes until the next meeting and then listen to call them up?
We could do that. You agree to that, John?
Go back and listen to it.
People, these guys, let you go there, I mean, that's, you don't want to want to have a hard time here. Here.
We'll speak up.
Thank you.
But I think, we'll make a motion that we're gonna, hold on approval of the minutes from the October sixth meeting until we can go back and listen to the recording and validate the exact statement that may or may not have been made by Morgan and Vision. Anybody second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor of that, the motion read by Buzz,
Aye.
to listen to the recording of the minutes of October sixth. Review at our next meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Now we have minutes of October 9th. Do I have a motion to accept these minutes? Or any discussion before we go over these minutes? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
All motion to accept the minutes from the October 9th meeting.
Okay, I have a second.
Second.
All in favor of the minutes of October 9th?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's passed. Any discussion on these minutes? We have a library presentation for FY 2026-27. Welcome.
Yeah, so thank you very much. I know there was a lot of juggling around to get us on the docket, and we really appreciate that for the folks who are working for the communities and stuff. So tonight, this is considered, if you doesn't know who's here, we have Mary Beth Calder, who's the chair of our library board, we have Lucia Corwin, who's the secretary of our library board, and this is Galen Johnson in the back, who's the treasurer. Jake Bajowski couldn't be here tonight, and John Seraph may join us, but he had a work meeting and then has to commute back to his house. He may join us on Zoom, I don't know if he's gonna make it. So we'll see. So, and I, big crowd. So this is a really, really great time to give you, because there are new people in town and there are new people on the board, it's a really great time to give you a brief outline of how the library is funded in Grafton, because not a lot of people actually understand how the library is funded, and if you can't hear me, just put your hand up a little bit. So the library is a municipal library. We don't receive any state funding per se, no library in Vermont does. We are eligible for some grants, small grants through the state, but there is no state funding for libraries in the state of Vermont. But the town of Grafton manages library payroll taxes, workers' comp, unemployment taxes, and we share the building insurance, the Vermont League of Cities and Towns building insurance, the certificate with the town. I'm also a member of the town's health insurance plan, but I'm not a member of the town's employee retirement plan. So it would be easy to assume that the town paid for all those things, but that's actually not the case. The town invoices the library for all of those expenses that I just listed. So they all come out of the library operating budget. What the town support that we do have is the tax support, which is set right now at $9,500 a year, which is $14.31 per capita annually. So you probably don't wondering, I know you stay up at night thinking, well, where does the rest of the money come to support the library? We have an endowment, and we use the assets from the endowment at a spending rule. And our spending rule is that, and I'm going to read you some sort of stuff that sounds a little legalese. The board shall abide by a spending rule such that the annual allocation of funds from the endowment is limited to a 4.5% of the prior 3-year average of the market value of the endowment's assets. That's all complicated financial language that means don't take out more of your endowment every year than you can't, then would sustain it on and on and on into the future. So that 4.5%, which we call the rolling average or the spending rule, that keeps it going on and on and on for us, so that we can continue to do it. Depending upon where the market is, that can be up to 40 to 50% of our budget. That's why we do the 3-year rolling average. So if the market goes down 1 year, we don't take an immediate and strong hit. The 3-year rolling average prevents that. So that's financial stuff that I did not at all understand when I became a library director, but now I understand all too well. So, and then the library has a smaller, much smaller endowment that is dedicated just for healthcare insurance. Was set up on the exact same spending rule, and so we were able to take money out every year to pay for the healthcare insurance. At this point, though, it does not fully fund health insurance for the library director. It funds about 75% of it, and that represents 9% our operating income. Then the library has an annual appeal every year, and traditionally, on average, that annual appeal has provided 20% of our operating income. And the remaining 11% of the library's operating income comes from book sale room, local grants, the small state grants I mentioned before, and then various small fundraisers that we have, like the gingerbread house extravaganza or the occasional dance day. So that is the snapshot of the library finances. So then, the pro forma budget for fiscal year 27. As I said, the tax support now is $9,500 a year. We're requesting an increase of $2,500 a year, which would bring us to a total of $12,000 tax support for the library. That would increase the per capita spending, what each taxpayer would pay, from $14.31 per capita annually to $18.60 per capita annually, which I noted was about a little less than the cost of buying one large takeout pizza a year. And so to get to that amount, when we're looking at the budget, we can't say that we're level funded across the board, because there have been increases in healthcare insurance, the workers' comp's gone up. Some utilities have gone up, and payroll goes up, and the building insurance goes up a little bit every year. To balance our budget, we've been able to reduce the heating fuel, because all of you helped us insulate the basement, and it has made a difference. We've looked at it for a year, and we are confident now that we can reduce the amount that we used to budget for fuel because of those savings. We also, we had a little bit of a reduction in the annual appeal. So we reduced that a little bit from previous year. We've reduced collection expenses, books, periodicals, audio visuals, and programming expenses a little bit. We're hoping with this ask for an increased tax support that we will not have to make further cuts in library programs, the library services, and the tech infrastructure and upgrades that we need to make. If we were not able to get that increased tax support, the trustees feel that the cuts that would need to be made would greatly impact programming and other library services. And would also put the future ability to retain and attract employees at risk. And the last thing that I just wanted to tell you is what do you get for the price of a little bit less than a large pizza per year? So, from January 2024 to October 2025, I just looked at the whole year plus a little bit up to current date. At adult programs at the library, we had 1,083 attendees. Children's programs, 305 attendees. We have a lot of people who use the library buildings and grounds for non-library programs. So within that span of time, 659 attendees came to different meetings and used the library. Our programs include book groups, children's concerts, craft and literacy programs, watercolor workshops, organized nature walks, language groups, and a lecture series that we ran, and will continue to run on topics such as AI, poetry, palliative care, etc. Folks that non-library groups that use the library and meet at the library include an investment discussion group, Daughters of the American Revolution, the GIA has met at the library when they need to. The town party group meets at the library, Democratic Caucus, Memorial Day and Veterans Day programs are held on the library lawn, craft and band concerts, and there are supporters of democracy meetings at the library now. As long as folks follow our library policies for meeting, any group can come meet the library, as long as library policies are followed. So interlibrary loan use in that span of time from January to October 2025, 513 books loaned out to patrons. Library visits during that span of time, 5,241 visitors to the library. Keep track of all this. Books circulated, 3,715. Number of library patrons in total from January 2024 to October 2025, 498 patrons got cards. And then other services provided that are not easily counted. We have the Libya for downloadable audiobooks and ebooks, baby book bag program, museum, concert, and parks passes. We have a public computer and printer, a copier that can all be used. And we're an important source of tourist and visiting information to town, Wi-Fi access 24/7. And then we do a lot of community outreach and reference out for folks and information sharing. And then, of course, for visitors. So that's what I have to say. If anybody has any questions, I really like.
Thanks so much. Do you have any questions from the board for Michelle?
Michelle, what do you use for per capita? How many people are you using that? You've got per capita, it's gonna cost $18. How many people is that involved?
Well, we have 498 patrons who actually have library cards. But we have tons of people who come into the library for reference questions, to use the bathroom, to get directions. So it's hard to actually say how many people are in. I mean, we have the visits, we have 5,241 visits.
Per capita, just the math, where,
How do you use it?
Oh, the population, I use 635, that's what I found, is that what you all were using, 635? It was really tricky actually to find that number, when I looked, but it looked like that was the most accurate. The two was from the 2020 census.
I have a question, yes, I give 645, I give all sorts of numbers. The health insurance, it says SF next to it.
That's the name of the endowment, we call it the Jerry Stevens Fund.
Okay, F Stevens Fund, okay,
Yeah,
I didn't know what that meant. Okay, that insurance of 10,500 is from that fund.
Yeah, that was the inception for that fund was 2015, and it was given by Jerry Stevens.
Yes, I understand that. I just didn't put it together, thank you.
And it pays for health care for the library director, and then
You,
that's it.
I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
You happen to know, Michelle, but that per capita request, how that compares to other libraries in the state?
I know that we're well below the average,
Right.
I think
it's like $28.
I think it is, I was going to say $28, but $28 is also the base starting salary for a library director too, so I get them confused, but I believe that it is $28 per capita on average. Because some towns are much higher and some are much lower, so, but on average, it's 28 per capita, so we're a good bit below that.
Kathy. Lisa.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So as a taxpayer, I would like to say that $18 a year per capita is an incredible bargain for the great resource that we have in our library.
I agree. Any other questions?
I had my thunder stolen, but I was gonna say, I used that library a lot, when I was growing up here. I read most every book I think they had about, they had this book on Bell's Falls.
We got some new ones now.
So
So you don't have to go all the way there.
it is very useful and having the, availability for groups to read movies, and I think it's big benefit for the town as well. And
When, go ahead.
As a taxpayer and soon to be voter and resident in Grafton, I want to say that I truly support this library. It has been a touchstone for me to get to know the community, to enjoy the benefits of this community, and to give back to the community, because I'm also a volunteer in the library. So I would appreciate the support of the select board for this very minimal addition to the library's budget. My name is Donna Alexander, by the way.
Thank you, Don. Anybody else?
I feel remiss, and now I'm not saying that, I think Mary Ann Donald is a longtime library volunteer, and Deanna is one of our library volunteers as well. They should be recognized.
Question, for the groups that use the library on a regular basis, is there any kind of a donation that they provide, or is there anything, or is it all just gratis?
We traditionally never charged because we want people to be able to access it as a community resource. Sometimes I hint, especially to the investment group. But no, we don't, we want everybody to feel that they can use
Thank
the
you.
building.
Appreciate it.
Although other libraries in the state of Vermont do charge, but I think we, I don't wanna speak for all the trustees, but we have a commitment to having there be an affordable place for people to meet.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for all you do for the town and the community. And I know the kids, too, do take part of the library and services. That's great. Yes.
The library provides a lot of information to visitors to town. And very unusually will allow visitors to check out a book and take their name and address. And they just mail the book back or bring it back when they come back. And people are astonished and delighted at that. And they get so much information. They stop into the library. They learn more about the Daisy Turner Center. They learn about the various things in the community and the things outside the community that might be of historical interest. The library is really the source for information, and they do a wonderful job. And so I'm in support of the more money for the library.
Thank you for that. Any other comments? Well, thank you again for presenting this. Unless there's any other questions from the board. I think we'll set. Thanks so much.
Presentation.
Highway report, David.
The asphalt file's on there because I was asked last time to pick it up, but Basil was asked to pick it up, so I want clarity from the board what you guys want to do.
Could you repeat that? I heard.
The asphalt file.
Yes.
I was asked to pick it up. But the board had Morgan call them and they were gonna pick it up, so I want clarity from the board what you want me to do, because I just don't like mixed feelings.
I asked David to pick it up because he could use that in the crusher. And every little bit will help, to, no cost money. And Morgan did call, Basin, and Basin said whenever they got to it, they would stop and pick it up. Well, it isn't gonna take the town over half an hour to go down and pick that up and bring it up to the town garage and dump it with the pile that we have for crushing, and why waste it?
Morgan, had you heard back from Basin at all?
Yeah, they did respond. They didn't say a specific date, but they said when they come through town, they would pick it up.
Pick it
on
up.
Monday.
Could be,
Could be.
it needs to be before the snow flies.
Since she called, it's been quite a while, but she called.
Oh, I thought she had done 2 calls.
Well, I followed up with them today, but I haven't heard back from them since. I looked back at the meeting, it was the second meeting in September that we initially talked about it, so I had asked the following day. So it was about a month ago.
I
Don't
don't,
bother me, whatever you.
I don't have a problem with the town picking it up and bringing it back to the highway, and you can notify Basin, that's what we're doing.
I think it should be a vote for the whole.
Yes.
Um,
that if they have a picture up, we should want to know.
Yeah.
We picked it up to, obviously.
Right.
We need to move on this, I agree as well.
So,
So I'll make a motion for the town highway crew to pick up that asphalt pile, and Morgan can notify Basin, since it's been such a long time that they haven't replied.
I'll second that.
All in favor of that motion? Any discussion? Okay, motion passed. Anything else, Dave?
No, we've been working on the trailer, trying to finish that up, we're getting closer. It stopped raining again, we'll grade some more roads, we got some ditching to do. And we got a culvert on Kidder Hill we're gonna do, I might farm to dig safe it though.
I know you guys probably know about it, but there's that little washout that's near where the Bolton's driveway is. Have you seen it? It's kind of creeping into, or a little further into.
You mean right by,
But that's,
yes, for that.
Yes, for next.
Yeah, like,
I meant for next.
Yeah, we'll go fix that too.
Yeah, I knew you probably have seen that.
We gotta correct the water out of your driveway, cause
Yeah.
it's blocked into now.
What road is that? I think the road, right? Yeah, right near the Burnetts. Okay. No.
Any problems with the rain today, or
No, not so far.
leaves? No plug ups?
And I checked the beavers this morning, it's still down low, so. Since I pulled it out the other day.
Well, thank you for doing that. So we need to open the bids for 2025 on a newer 3,500 heavy duty flatbed truck.
All right, I have one bid here, this is from Faith, saying that they have researched and checked all avenues. They cannot get a truck and body ready for January 1st. And which doesn't leave them enough time, they decline to bid. So. This is from Ford of Claremont. The quote for the 2026 at 350 chassis, of course, we'll make sure it's okay. The total vehicle cost is $84,259. The trade-in allowance is $8,000. The total cost therefore is $76,259. And it says all specs have been met, which are detailed on this second sheet.
They come out and take a look at the truck? Or is that just the
No, they've got pictures of it.
pictures of the?
The second bid is from Benson's Chevrolet. And it is, it doesn't matter. They have a total vehicle cost of $82,117. The trade-in allowance of $24,750. The total cost of $57,367. They have a registration fee $15, title fee $50, document fee of $288 that are due at delivery, so that's not included in the bid, and attach all the specifications as well. And it's a lot, that's it, you all know that already.
So tell me the final ones.
Sure. Final cost is 57,367. The dealership, but the third bid is One Nation Auto LLC. In Bowland, Pennsylvania. And total vehicle cost $89,898, so $89,898. Trade-in allowance of $12,000. Total cost of $77,898.
Again, 8.
The total cost is $89,898. The trade-in allowance is $12,000. And therefore the total cost is $77,898. And that's. This is they had simply provided the copy. The last bid. What's the last bid? It's from. It's Formula Ford Lincoln in Rockland, Vermont. The quote, the total quote is $83,668. There's a trade-in allowance of $17,500. The total cost is $66,168. It says built as requested. I will note on the cover sheet, it said the price includes Vermont registration and title, a 9 foot 6 inch Fisher plow, CM aluminum flatbed, 8 to 10 weeks for delivery. I have to go 8 to 10 weeks out and make sure that's right, we'll do this, and some options for, undercoating and, I think a service plan, which also is just an option. And that's it.
Thanks.
Happy health safety.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty significant difference in the trade-in, allowed. Are they consistent as far as whether they're affecting the trade-in of our vehicle to include the flatbed, or whether they take the flatbed out and recycle it? Are y'all packaged the same way?
I mean, assuming it says on this, that's. Trade-in, sorry.
So the specs were for a new body. So, yes,
I just wondered if.
I
yeah,
think the trade-in value is different now because you're going Ford, GMC or Chevy.
Well, I see that. I
That's,
see that, but I just wanted to, the rest other than.
And so Texas did have a plow included, isn't it?
Without plow, then you're in control.
Benson's is. This is Formula Four, this one is. And this is the Pennsylvania one, Benson's. Scanning, there are lots of specs.
What does it say per text?
If it said per
Snowplow. Wrap camper package. Without fine tooth comb, I mean. I'll let you look at it as well, I mean, feel free, I don't see that it doesn't.
One you had said all specs, but I didn't know which one.
That was not this one. Install, this is Earl's, Benson, it says install Fisher 9.6 stainless XV2 plow package.
And he actually comes to shop, I looked at it personally.
Right, it's right here.
Yes, so I think that's a yes, but I.
That was part of the spec, so.
It's part of the specs,
If it wasn't in there, then we.
but unfortunately their specs are wrong, so.
Does this mean this is extra?
I would have to read through that, I don't think, it sounds like, I can't tell.
Well, it don't sound so much in that price, say you got an extra price for the plow. $18,000.
We didn't special to the structure.
Well, then, let's, well, I have to look at it, but yeah, if that's the case, then they haven't inspected, but it can't. I'm not making that judgment right now.
I don't believe it is. Wondered why it's stuck to the wall, the other ones.
But they're not saying their prices that way, they're saying they're getting a lot more first. So.
When, 60,
They're trading these dollars in these quotes.
And the next closest.
actually, so if you take, they have a list price of 63,588 on this paperwork, plus the 18,909. Someone wants to do that math really quick, I think that comes up to the total vehicle cost of 82,117. I can't swear to it without.
That's Benson.
This is Benson, so they have the truck order here for 63,588. If we add 18,909 to that. That gives you the 82,117, so that is the total vehicle cost is, it does include that. They have a significant trade allowance.
You said that trading is the difference, Dave, or is Chevy giving bigger trade-ins now?
Well, I imagine because Chevy wanted Chevys and
If
Ford.
they're a Chevy dealer.
Wow.
Well, the Ford garage weren't, it wasn't that often very good.
Say it again,
The Ford was a trade-in of 17,500.
Yeah,
it was 84, it was approximately $2,000 more for the truck. Oh, this Ford was 8,000 for
Yeah.
trade.
The difference is you trade it.
yeah.
Yeah, Ford of Claremont gave us 8,000, this Benson is 24,000.
Usually, price is $1,000 plus.
Benson's
Plus
is,
9,000.
Benson sold us their last truck, so.
Oh, did they?
Oh. So you've done business before.
So being a Chevy, you ride a good one, or is it really fixed up?
Well, it is in pretty nice shape here.
this Ford is 83, yeah, it's low, so.
But I think we still need to go through all the details.
Yeah.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but it is good to know that they're the ones that sold us enough, and since Chevy's really nice one.
And he come to the shop personally, a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, you see that, those.
So each of the, can take a look at these bids and be ready next meeting, our next select board meeting. To make a choice. Anything else, on highway day?
I don't have anything else you can bring up, something.
Anything for the community? roads, yes, Al.
A while ago, I sent a note to Morgan. And there was a time when, leaves were just starting to change on the trees and not as obvious now as it was then. But just driving down the road between here and fire station, I noticed 7 dead trees. Not all of them are in the highway right away. Some of them are on private land. And I also noticed 2 big pine trees that are dead right out in Hoganville, just as you get to the edge of Blacktop and the dirt. Just think it might be worth, the select board looking at some kind of policy, and reminding the residents that they have an obligation of the dead trees that are, even though they're not in the right way of the highway, that they have a liability of a dead tree on their property that has a potential to fall onto the highway, and that just came out recently, some information from the state as far as landowner liability, but and there's a bunch going down Townsend Valley of dead ash trees. So there's a cumulative large number of dead trees that some are town responsibility, some are private responsibilities, but seems like there should be some effort, some process to work on that.
I know what you sent, Morgan sent that out to us with the trees. I think informally we discussed it, but nothing formally has been made. We talked about it, but
Well, often
No,
it's
it's a-
after the horse is out, as opposed to hating.
it would be nice, to let residents, know that, about this liability. Is that something that we could, Morgan, you could notify folks, but with a letter or
Yeah,
Maybe you should put it in the
the
graph.
Grafton News?
I could look at what the state, if Al just said the state has new information, I'll look at that and. Yeah, I'm sure we can put something in the news.
That would be helpful.
Yeah.
You said that's a recent update off from the state?
Yeah, it seemed like not too long ago, there was something that came out, and of course, it was the result of a liability. It seemed like it happened up in Chittenden County somewhere.
Well, we got a lot of problem with the ash next to the power lines. And I don't know if you guys all know, we pay an extra fee now on our electric bills, but it seems like the electric company don't take care of that problem. Like the 2 pine trees I was talking about out there on 121. I know they were tagged a long time ago to be cut, and they haven't been cut yet by them. And so it's most of ours are next to power lines, so.
It's not an easy problem for
No.
the town or either one.
Yeah, we talked about it a while ago with the emerald ash borer and how many trees there would be, and I think the
Yeah.
consensus was it's so large problem, it's hard to deal with or have a consistent plan. But with the power company, is there any way to engage them, or do they just put you on the list and you wait?
I've had firsthand experience, so when recently when the town had worked with Green Mountain Power and they did some work out on Hall Ranch, I went and talked to the folks from the tree care business and I said, hey, there's 2 dead ash trees that are out closer to my house. They're really ought to be taken care of. And they said, well, it's not in our work order. But they said, if you call Green Mountain Power and make a formal statement or complaint, whatever you wanna call it, of the trees and the location, they'll send somebody out to look at it. And I figured I was getting a runaround, but I called, just test the system. Very, good response from Green Mountain Power, they said they'd send somebody out, they did, and, trees are gone. So, they took care of it, so there is a system in place, and they said they tend to respond when a lane owner or town, gets hold.
I have to support what Al just said, I had that exact experience. A few years back, we had a tree, it was out of the right of way. And it was forward leaning and it just collapsed, it did, when I say collapsed, I mean, it just suddenly died. It was near the power line, so I called Green Mountain Power. And within a day, a truck came out, was a guy sat out, looked at it, put some tape around it. And 2 days later, the crews came out and took it down. Yeah, I was amazed. How efficient it was.
I think that would be helpful to put that in, notification to, in the news or whatever to the, residents. And if they are responsibility of ours, we also, of the town, we should notify them,
Yeah,
figure out what's
Yeah,
what.
Find out from GMP too, what,
Yeah.
who to contact.
yeah, so if they have a number, that can be included in the
Put
story.
it in the,
And then, I guess Dave, if you feel there's any in the time lately,
Oh, God.
besides the several hundred that are there any specific ones that maybe we should call them Green Mountain Carsville?
You'd have to drive right.
yeah.
All, just call them, tell them to go look at the whole line.
Thank you.
But if there's some so obvious. When you're doing, when you're going on your routes, that,
Oh, yeah, all 35. Well, they did it back quite a while ago, unless they've changed. They had a bunch of trees marked here with black paint. They were all supposed to be cut. They still got the black paint on and they're still standing. So, I don't know, they've changed their,
How long ago
Wait.
was that?
it was quite a while ago.
You can still
Yeah.
see the marks on
Yeah.
the trees.
And then they just had the people come through and clear the power lines and they left all the dead ones standing, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah, those crews that
Yeah.
go through the pole saws.
So I guess we'd have to call and see. What they did come out Hall Ranch and cut the ones that we needed out.
Maybe we call them the, you mark these trees, they're hazardous and something. They come.
Yeah.
so the company's out of Canada now, right?
Green Mountain Power.
Mhm.
I don't know.
I think so. Okay. Any other comments or questions on the trees? Thank you, Al, for bringing it up. Committee, clerk and treasurer.
I just have one thing in regards to, I sent the letter to the board this afternoon, hopefully you've had a chance to read it. But it's from Ashley, our animal control officer, regarding a dog bite that happened last weekend. I don't, how many, did you get a chance to?
Yeah, I did read it.
I read it.
Okay.
Need to sign some.
So yes, if you're in agreement, if you could just sign, there's lines at the bottom there for that.
So signing this, will there be a hearing?
There is not a hearing yet
Okay.
unless the individual that was bitten requests a hearing.
Okay,
But this letter will be sent to the owners of the dog that did the biting. It essentially says that it needs to be within a 6-foot high fence and always leashed. And is considered a vicious dog in the town of Grafton.
so you make sure, Steve has a a signature on that? Just
No,
the one, all of them, or?
we'll have to send it certified mail
Okay.
to online, but I'll make sure we keep it on the web.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yeah.
Just refresh our memory, if you would, about the nature of this information, because I think it's about a dog bite. Is that right? So are the specifics not public information, or are they public information? I want to be respectful if it's private. I'm just wondering if it's supposed to be public information.
I do think it is public information.
I have no idea.
Okay.
We're not mentioning any names, we're just mentioning that there was an incident.
I'm sorry.
We're not mentioning any particular names, it was an incident, a dog bit somebody,
All right.
But
So-
the other one was open to the public.
Yeah.
The names are not to be mentioned in public, or are they?
I
I want to be respectful. I'm asking a question.
well, I'm
about what's
trying to be
public and
respectful
private.
too, and not
I don't
mention
know.
a particular name.
Yeah, I'd like to know not to walk by that house, I mean.
I think the location is public, I just don't wanna share victims' names.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's a dog that resides along Eastman Road.
Thank you. I
And
think
the
that's a
person was
fair
on a bike, right?
compromise. Thank you.
Yeah.
for it.
The person was on a bike
Is that?
Yes.
and the dog ran out from their property into the road. And apparently bit this person and the owner, so this is.
Right, thank you.
Okay. Are we ready for committee reports?
Yes.
Cemetery committee. Anything to report?
As the forester got back to you for
I had contact with the state forester about the properties, and he said that he was gonna look into the property and see if he can fit it into his schedule, but I haven't heard more on that. I did take a look at, after our last special meeting, we had talked about the requirements of the cemetery mowing bids, so I did look at that, and I can send the draft to everybody, and you know, we have a couple months to work on it, but I think it's important that we look at the language that's included in that and really spend some time on it.
Good.
So I can send that tomorrow.
That's good, thank you, Morgan, that's good to know, and we can work on that. And we're all set with this, with the cemetery stones cleaning. We get those bids.
Kim has been
Kim, I'm
working
looking
on that
at
so
that.
much.
Parks committee, Village Park update, we have the notes.
We got a note from, it's actually from Marville Matt, but it's from the Village Park volunteers, to talk about what they, met at their meeting on the 29th of September, discussing the goals and responding to town administrator's request, about any funding issues. So just to briefly summarize this, it has been posted. It talks about that these projects are done. The excavation addressing drainage, sure pack has been spread along the trail at the education lean-to and 2 picnic sites. A resting bench retaining wall was built at the first picnic site, and 2 tables run by the GIA were set in place. The old entrance kiosk was removed. Trails have been cleared, clipped and trimmed from April to October, including removing fallen trees. Temporary signage was placed in 2 kiosks. A porta potty provided by the GIA is in place in the parking area from May to October. They considered their needs, their goals, excuse me, but for the 2026 season. Specifically in terms of this, could get lengthy, but, the yearly maintenance needs and the funding requested of the board or of the town. A yearly line item specifically for the village park for sure pack of $500. accessible trail repair work such as sags, PVC piping and grading to address water runoff will be requested if needed after an assessment in the spring of 2026. They are confirming that donations specifically made for the village park are carried forward as such to be used exclusively for village park maintenance. And that the the highway department would mow once or twice annually along the entrance road and sides to prevent vegetation encroachment that would be along the parking area as well. And it mentions monitoring the parking lot for disruptive vehicles that would nothing to do with the highway department as much as perhaps for the sheriff. That they're requesting a porta potty continued through the GIA. Oh, sorry,
Your comment on the monitoring, or your reading of the monitoring.
is that
At one point, the past foreman was, going to put up some, game cameras to see if we could get information on who keeps feeling this terrible urge to go up there and rip up the parking lot with a big white tired vehicle. And, we know that that person's no longer here, but it would be nice if that offer, continued. As far as setting up some kind of a game camera or something some way to figure out who's doing it and, stop, because they rip it up sometimes fairly deep and then it fills up with water. Has potential to wash away something.
We have the cameras. We did order 2 cameras,
Oh, you did?
yes,
Oh, perfect.
and I spoke to David about putting them up. And I
But I
think
don't think it's been ripped up since.
hasn't been ripped up since
The sheriff.
we've had some
talked to-
the
incidents.
sheriff also had.
The sheriff talked
Sheriff's
to
been
the two
involved.
individuals that,
Oh, good. That's
so
more.
There has been some
than we have.
So we hope with that, it's gonna stop, but if not, then those cameras need to be put up.
Yeah. Perfect. Good to hear.
It's unfortunate that we've got some youngsters or some individuals in town that feel a joyride for them. And it's creating a lot of damage, a lot of work for the highway crew. And it's not okay.
Sure,
Not okay.
thanks for that. The reiteration, the last point on this request was a reiteration of safety and other concerns still pending select board response, which may need funding. The mid-trail historic gazebo presents safety issues from age and exposed nails. They request a select board decision to either repair or remove. The village park volunteers will not be involved in this project. 2 ash trees removed next to the picnic area on the accessible trail parallel to Fire Pond Road. The invasive removal, invasive species removal, professionally accomplished and ongoing, and cistern covers.
David, Hall is, he's taking that on as a individual
Okay.
project to cover up the cisterns. He's gonna build some kind of a little roof for.
Okay, so that,
So that one you can check off.
okay, great, thank you. Peter just.
The little gazebo that is midway on the trail out to the new structure we built. It has a historic, kind of a value to it. It would be a time consuming project if somebody was really interested in doing it. We don't wanna tackle it. We don't feel we have the expertise to do justice to time and effort that someone put into it when they originally built it. But it's becoming kind of a safety issue, so we're hoping that you folks would look at it and decide safety standpoint has to be down, or it has historic value, which should be maintained in safe condition, so. We're not,
I understand, right,
we're practically doing that, so we're practically doing it.
I was up there last weekend, it's in rough shape,
Yeah, it is, and I don't know.
yeah.
I'm not aware of the historic, the history behind it, or if there's a certain group that would be interested in it for its historic merit.
Not
Been there
sure, they go
since
back to the CCC,
What
did you
just say, Buzz?
and they go back to CCC when they were doing.
Part of that is, it's part of Gertrude's vision for that, so there were three originals, and they were all the original for the park. Right, and in addition, I did point out that it has some historic interest in that it's full of initials and carvings.
Yeah.
Many people in town have written, since the 1920s, I think is the oldest one. I did something for myself, but I think it ought to be photographed if the decision is to destroy it. It needs to be carefully photographed, and all those initials and names need to be recorded for historic.
It's a great idea.
Has anyone thought about if they did restore it, what the cost might be, or an estimate?
It's out of our league, so
Yeah,
we don't have.
maybe too much,
It's an old.
it'd be costly.
It's a mess.
But I understand the safety issues.
It's like a no bad. My grandfather was sort of sturdy, bless that.
The roof itself was not horrible, it's still straight and I'm not even sure it's leaking, but the benches are definitely settling and they are generous.
I always find it surprisingly sturdy, all things considered. Now, if there are nails sticking out, that's a bad thing, but yeah, so maybe there's an opportunity to. I don't know who or how, but we should put our heads together and think some proactive solutions. I think
Maybe you and I can talk about that.
we can go
We
to it.
can find the right people, it might be.
We'll take it on.
To budget.
Yeah, I mean, perfect high school project for somebody, you know,
That's
class.
Put a note in the
Yeah, that's what I mean, that's what I mean, so, well, now you can find some skills for students doing that, we just don't have the house to do that. What's that? I mean, that's kind of, that's the way I think, is a high school
We're
teacher.
going to take a look at it at the Historical Society, and go to get the documentation on, do all that. And maybe we have somebody
Nice,
who would participate in that conversation.
yeah,
Because the Daniels work there it was so important in the state, it's not just local.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
it'd be great.
I can get someone to start taking a look at it,
that would be lovely.
and at least contribute. Some
There is a lot of
information.
history. Interesting that I'm not sure about the shingles, but I would imagine the wood might be from right there in the park. You know, it's kind of natural wood when it was put together.
Oh, 100%, very much, yeah.
John. Okay,
So,
I'm sorry.
oh, I was just saying, I go up with John Turner and take a look at it and some other people. Who know who might, I'm not saying they would do it or wouldn't do it, but we can certainly document it and.
let me know when you
I
go,
would do.
I will go with you, I'd love to go with
But
you.
the thing is, it's beyond repair, though, I have captured it, not pictures and videos.
Yeah,
Stephanie and Janet, girlfriend will be in town on Friday. And might be worth talking to them, they would know their director sent it,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
and
that'll help
they
you.
will know, you know.
So,
Wow.
or,
Very cool.
a lot of people I do when I was, 16 or 17.
What are their names again?
Stephanie and John, that's what your name?
Yeah, Delvin, Buzz, you're too young for these people.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for that.
I'm almost.
Stephanie and who?
Janet Gelfin.
Delvin, Gene,
Yeah.
and you know the dollar.
I appreciate that, because Eric lost the most.
What was the boy's name?
Stephanie and Janet Gelfin.
One big ticket item on that list as far as, the volunteers go is
Trees.
those two ash trees that are,
Yes.
were by the kiosk at the walk-in entrance, so close to the fire ground road. They currently are live, healthy, big trees, really big trees, and when they come down, they're gonna have a lot of cleanup. But they're also near the road,
So-
where they go when they finally fall.
So they're alive, they're healthy.
They're currently alive, but they
Yeah,
are.
they're showing signs of, the woodpeckers going after them and the foliage is starting to
Right. So they're,
be impacted.
It's a lot of money.
But they are within range of road, power lines. So maybe that is
but,
two trees that we have for,
they're out of our league as far as us.
I understand.
Oh, we're not doing that.
Maybe
And I don't want
out
the
of-
town cutting them
They're
either.
hot barley either. And the other, the invasive species removal, which is a significant undertaking, I
Yeah,
would know.
it's been worked, I think at least twice by, the Pond Views, crew that does, the invasive work.
That was
I
a,
seem to think the last time we paid, the town paid them maybe like $4,000 worth of work.
I remember that.
Walk through and do, it was individual, bushes or trees that were, it was not a broadcast spraying, it was individual treatment, so.
When was that?
That was like
No,
5 years ago, maybe, 5, 6 years.
you know, every time I think it's 2 years, it's really 4. It's six.
Maybe
So
10.
it was a while, yeah. I'd say it may be as much as 10 years.
I don't think it was 10, because I was on the board.
I think it was.
I was on the board.
It had to have been, because the park hasn't been in there that long. I worked here 11 years and park hasn't been in there that long.
Ours hasn't been there.
The park's been there, I think the village park and
Ours
everything.
has been 100
The committee.
years.
Well, they haven't been working. so.
No, that's right. I've been hiking.
I wanna say it's like 5 or 6 years now, because I remember it on the board.
Yeah, we
And
can
it
look it up.
said it needs to be repeated in a few more years.
Right.
At any event, that's the end of, Margot's submission, about the town parks. So, for these discussions, we'll follow up with budget and thank you. That'd be great to hear and maybe speak with those that are knowledgeable. That would be really cool. So I think that's it for the Parks Committee. Good with them.
Any other comments on the chart? Thank you, Anna. Highway Committee, anything? Personnel Committee. I did reach out to VLCT today on our, family leave and, paternal leave on our policy, and we need to make some amendments and hope to discuss that at the next, board meeting. July 23rd flood update, anything?
Yeah, this has been ongoing for a very, very long time. It if you're available tomorrow at 9, I'm gonna have a call with Stevens and Associates. And we essentially have gone back and forth a lot about this wetland delineation and necessary permits going forward. At the end of the day, we have a FEMA deadline for this project of December of this year, which we will need to file an extension for. The state has said, all extensions have to be approved, but they likely will approve it for July of 2026. But going past that, it then will have to go through a FEMA approval, and anything past that, we just are not confident about getting approval for, so. The pressure is really on, and it's just very frustrating because I feel as though from the town's point of view, we've done what we can, and it's just been difficult to work with these many other organizations to move this project along. So I'll have a call tomorrow morning. Hopefully that's productive, and I think we'll see how that goes. Do you have anything to add to that?
And who's this with again?
Stevens and Associates, the engineers working on the project.
And it's designating that wetland, a different designation or a change?
Well, the meeting tomorrow will, I think we'll go over that plus other permitting and timelines for the whole project.
So this is gonna be like a conference call here?
Yeah.
Any other comments on that? Any other business? Public comment,
Oh,
go ahead.
hi, my name is Craig, and for those who may not know me, I live up on Hall Ridge Road. I wanted to ask board of your awareness of Act 181 and Tier 3 designation that's being planned right now in the state of Vermont.
No, I don't. I don't know.
Anyone? Okay, well, let me tell you what it is. Last year, the legislature passed Act 181, which is an amendment to Act 250. I believe it was vetoed by the governor, and they overrode his veto. And the purpose of Act 181, you may know about, it was presented as a plan to encourage the building of residential properties. Specifically in town centers that already have wastewater, such as Chester, Springfield, and so forth. Part of Act 181 also increases the governance of Act 250 in critical resource areas. Well, at the time when this was passed, because it was on my radar because of the housing, it's something that means a lot to me. I was thinking it would be outland forests, vast tracts of undeveloped land. But that's not the case. The committee's working on it, and I had a very long conversation with Alex Weinhagen, I think is his name, who is a Tier 3 team leader. They have put together a map, and they're designating what these Tier 3 areas will be. And they run throughout the entire state. And in Grafton, currently, and the map could still be updated, it's the entire length of Hall Ranch Road, Stagecoach Road, and the entire length of 121, starting at about Lisa Kissel's house. And his explanation to me was, it's because of critical resource land and habitat connectivity of the area that's around it. Which contradicts, because there's other areas in Grafton on this map that are equal. What this will mean is that any properties that fall within this 2,000-foot boundary along those corridors will be encumbered with Act 250 required permits for any kind of development or building of a home. And there's also a secondary layer to this, which is called road development, and this runs throughout the entire state on every road, not just in this area that I'm talking about where I live. Is that any new road being developed into land that goes more than 800 feet will require an Act 250 permit. What concerns me about it is that where we live, all of us who live along here, and of course, once we get past Houghtonville, there is nobody along 21. All of our properties will be negatively encumbered with this requirement for Act 250. But nobody else in Vermont, so it really opens up the door to a very unequal, unfair situation. So I wanted to bring to the attention of the room and you that they're having public meetings. And it is the public comment period, and there's 4 meetings for the entire state. Has anyone in the select board, or you, Morgan, has anyone been notified of these meetings?
I have not.
See, this, and I'm gonna take this up when I go to this meeting, I'm going to take this up. It seems to me if the state is going to encumber my property, I should have been sent a letter. You, Maureen, should have been sent an email that said, please disseminate this information to your property owners. So that's only one of my issues that I'm really angry about, that it seems to me they are not satisfactorily notifying the public and property owners to what they're doing. I've had many conversations over the last 2 days about this, and it's very, very frustrating. But the the 21st, there's a meeting in Morrisville. October 22nd, there's a meeting in Rutland at the Regional Planning Commission, and that is, like I said,
It's 2 days.
yeah. There's also a meeting in Newport City and then one in Wynn on the 29th. And the purpose, Alex, who's running this meeting, he said that there will be a short presentation to explain what Tier 3 is and this whole change. And then it's gonna be opened up to public comment. So I would love, maybe through the Grafton News and that, and the Facebook page, maybe an email from town to notify, because I know that Morgan, you'll send out an email, and then Michelle with the room who's gone, Michelle will double up on it and get the word out. That I think people need to be aware of this very fundamental change that the state is trying to make to properties. To give you some examples, they made this compromise that says, oh, well, if the house is, if you have a house in zone, this Tier 3 zone that's going to come, and you wanna add on to it, that would be fine. However, if somebody has a property and they wanted to build a house for maybe their elderly parents, Act 250. And which adds a great deal to the expense of trying to develop a property. You know, and I'm all for responsible development. And I think all of our areas up there are responsibly developed. There's not that many homes, but they exist. And I still come back to the unfair encumbrance to our properties compared to the rest of Grafton. And one thing that I don't understand, looking at the map, these maps are not shaded that I'm pointing to. But the explanation I was given why these areas were chosen was that they are located in what's called a critical resource area. And on this map, this Tier 3 map, they're shaded dark orange. And that these areas are what are called habitat connectivity, meaning animal life, plant life have to cross that boundary of that road to get from one side to the other in this critical habitat. But what doesn't make sense is the entire length of Townsend Road from the village all the way to where Judy Dickinson lives, is surrounded, this is all critical habitat shaded orange. I don't understand why this doesn't have the same potential designation as tier 3. So once again, it comes back to, why are we taking a hit? But not them. It makes no sense. So. You have any questions?
Wendy?
What does our legislator say about this? What does our representative say about this?
Well, I haven't spoken to that.
Well, he should know, she's representing us.
Well, no, I agree. I only have so much time. and
I
I want-
understand that,
Yeah,
I'm being facetious because I question that representation anyway, but I would say start, he needs to be notified, he's supposed to be, sticking up for us.
yeah, he's on the list.
Good.
He's on the list.
Thank you.
But I think honestly, one of the things that I wanted to find out tonight, and I did find out, if you knew about this, and none of you knew about this, and that I'm going to bring to Alex's attention when I go to this meeting, that they're failing at communication. Absolute fail at communication. I only discovered this by accident, when somebody totally out of the blue, unrelated to this town, said, hey, you know about this? And I was like, what is this? Wow. So I had a conversation with Alenka down in Townsend, who's the town clerk there. I know her well through business. And I had other business to talk to her, but I asked her the same question. Hey, Alenka, by the way, do you know about this? And I explained to her what I explained to you, and she said, I've never heard of this. What is it? So she was on the phone looking up on the computer what I was looking at on the computer. Townsend, by the way, is riddled with potential zone 3 or tier 3 it's called. And she said, okay, I'm gonna start notifying people. So.
I just did a quick search of my email to see if by chance I missed something, but
Yeah.
nothing's popping up right away, so, that is concerning. for
It
sure.
is, that's one of my big concerns. I'm really shocked that they are not communicating to the towns or to the individual property owners that will be really affected by this.
Yeah,
Also, Wyndham Regional, I'm surprised they didn't know something about this too.
Well, they're absolutely involved in the process. Yeah, no, they are part of the process.
Yeah. This, yeah.
I did find these VLCT, October 15th, a year ago. They have a PowerPoint about takeaways from Act 181 to spur housing. Use, it's, the housing creation, that's 181. It does talk about the tiers in there, so, but,
But that was a year ago.
that was a year ago, but yeah. It was from their town fair 24. I just was Googling it as well as you spoke.
Yeah.
Buzz, can I ask you, you're on the planning commission, does the planning commission have any of this information?
Eric Stevens has brought up about the natural resource areas.
Yeah.
Not so much the Act 250 impact, the way it's being described here. So we have talked about the natural resource areas from the 250.
Hmm.
But we are gearing up, we're going through the various chapters in the town plan.
Yeah,
And so we'll probably, I would imagine we'll get something from the Woodland Regional Commission on that, because we use them as a resource, but not some of the detail we're.
now you mentioned there's 4 meetings coming up, are they gonna be Zoom links so people can?
There will, yes, they're public, and then there's also the connectivity through Zoom,
Okay.
yeah.
One of them's in 2 days.
You know what, when I get home, I'm gonna email you with this information, and then you can share it with everyone else. Yeah, thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
it's really helpful.
Yeah, I just, one of the things that, I was having a conversation with somebody today, not Alex, and a longtime resident, he lives in Putnam. But he said it really concerns him that the tradition and the historic nature of Vermont governed individually town by town. Is that here's another example of states stepping on the town's rights. You know, Grafton doesn't have zoning. There are some people who would love it, most people love that we don't have it. And I know from Alenka that Townsend is the same way, but here the state is creeping in with their own overlay of zoning. And,
Townsend does not have zoning.
no, they don't, no. No. According to Alenka, she's like, yeah, people down here don't want. But there are a lot of people are gonna get it down there because of, it's tier 3 of, coming out of Act 181. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah, you know, like I said, you know, I don't know how much, you know, select board can do. Other than, I ask you to look into it, to investigate it, so you understand what's happening. And, I would hope that you would come to some sort of a consensus as a group and perhaps compose a letter expressing your concerns if you have them. I think it's a situation where select boards should have been notified of this process, and I'm really surprised that they are apparently not being notified of what is going on. Nor property owners that would be affected by it are not being notified. So what we're dealing with are people may have bought a property and then 2 years from now, they're like, hey, let's go build that house finally and retire. Nope, can't do it. But when they bought it, they could. See, that's the scenario of what could happen. Yeah.
This doesn't sound.
I asked him, I said, stay prepared to compensate people for their financial loss when that loss occurs. Oh, that's a good question, Craig. He didn't answer it.
Well, I think we should notify a representative first.
Oh, I agree, yeah.
He's gonna notify us, and it's done nothing, so I think we should send off a,
Well, I wonder, does he know?
I don't know.
What was, what's, I forget his name.
Charlton.
Tom Crow, yeah. He was, when did he take his seat? Wasn't it just this last year?
Yeah, it's a.
Okay. This was enacted before he took that seat. So I wonder if he's notified of what's going on. Because I don't think he was in his position when it was all originally occurring. And was the legislation passed it.
Yeah, but you should be aware of the representative, and both say the bills are there,
Yeah,
whether you were there or not.
oh, I agree with you. I agree with you. Alright, okay, well, let's not talk.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing.
Thank you for stop talking.
Just a minute, Al.
Oh, I
Susan
just
had her
wondered-
hand and then Al.
I just wondered when the next budget meeting is, Kathy. I don't believe. It's
I
not,
don't have one set yet.
okay, they're waiting to hear.
Al?
Well, I was gonna ask if the select board would, consider sending a letter to the representative, asking for some follow-up to why, Morgan wasn't. You know, get him to dig into.
Yeah.
Why this information has not been shared readily with towns.
That's a good idea, thank you, no, that's a really good idea, I think a letter from the select board questioning why we are not being properly informed.
Correct.
And notified of this situation. And I forget, somebody said to me on the, the phone today, well, if you're the people that know about it, if you're the people who are gonna complain. But I don't know anybody who lives in one of these potential zone 3 areas who's gonna be happy about this. So, all right,
Thanks so much.
thank you.
Can I go back to the budget question?
Yes.
We need to meet with party and the capital budget here very soon. And I think as soon as we go through capital budget, we will have at least one more meeting with the whole select board to go over the final numbers of those.
So really two upcoming meetings, one on the Capitol and then
Yes.
it's following that.
At the minimum, yes.
That's super, thank you.
Any other public comment? Our next meeting is Monday, November 3rd, here at 6 P.M. I need a motion, a motion to move into executive session
So moved.
for employment of an employee.
We got motion. It's
All in favor?
9.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
So I'm gonna make a motion that, in executive session, we reviewed the candidates for the road foreman position. We have a unanimous agreement on a candidate. I'm sorry, is this you or is it everyone?
This candidate will be notified.
This candidate will be notified, by the town of Grafton of the offer. Upon acceptance, we will hire and then share that information with the public.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor of that motion?
Right?
Any objections?
They're gonna notify him tomorrow.
Mhm.
Correct.
Yes.
Just go to work, you're gonna notify him.
You could call tonight.
Oh, tonight?
Call tonight. Want the number?
Okay,
Look, yeah.
okay. Now, just, if there's no other business, to motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
So moved.
Oh.
All in favor?
Motion to-
Motion to adjourn.
All those.
Aye. Do you want his number?